What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm joined with
Gershwan!
And today we're back at it to answer your questions in another installment of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And that is what?
Giovanni Bini has done. His question is one that's near and dear to my heart because I own a monkey. If the Jokero are Xenos, why are they allowed to exist in the Imperium? Or are they just evolved orangutans?
That's a good question because, as we know, the Imperium of Man is very xenophobic, meaning that it's like any type of alien is seen as an abomination and must be destroyed. Only the natural human strain is worthy of existing. Yet we see Jokero weaponsmiths, yet we see abhumans like Ogrins, Ratlings, we see beastmen, which
Furries.
are furries.
We're seeing those nowadays.
Yeah, so the answer is that the Imperium is huge and it's complicated. Laws can be bent. The law of a planet is really dictated by the planetary governor, right. And that planetary governor has to answer to the higher powers of the Adeptus Administratum and the High Lords of Terra. The High Lords of Terra and the Adeptus Administratum has representatives going to the planet, but just like any political system, those ambassadors can be swayed to turn the other way when, Xenos are around. So that's part of the reason why. The second reason is they existed since the Great Crusade. Mm-hmm. So during the Great Crusade, when the Emperor was unifying all the different human civilizations that existed, some of them were working with Xeno races, and the Xeno races weren't like evil. They weren't trying to kill them. So that's where the Jokero come in. They're very their technology benefited the Imperium, benefited the Great Crusade, and the Emperor used their digital weapons, their knowledge to kind of bolster his own ranks. Yeah. Same thing with the abhumans.
Now, if you have no idea what we're talking about, the Jokero weaponsmith is essentially a ape-like creature.
Yep.
Very orangutan in appearance, but smaller. Not as dummy thick as the regular ones.
Yes.
But they're so smart, and they have such a like a tinkerer's brain that they can create just a little ring, but it can shoot out as a beam as strong as a
flamer.
Yeah, flamer, melta, even las weaponry, which is crazy.
Yep, they're called digital weapons. Mm-hmm. You've done a video on them, so check out our 40 facts on digital weapons.
Yep.
Or just check out our 40 facts on the Jokero weaponsmiths. But they truly are a Xenos race. Mm-hmm. They were created by the old ones, and they have there's no connection between them and humanity. Yes, they look like orangutans, like you were saying, but no, there's no connection there.
Right.
Another point with regards to abhumans, an abhuman is accepted into the Imperium because his genetic strain is pretty stable. Mm-hmm. So an Ogryn mating with an Ogryn is going to produce an Ogryn. A Beastman mating with a Beastman most often will produce some form of Beastman. It's not an actual mutant, where a mutant mating with another mutant is going to create something that we don't really know. Or vice versa.
Right. Two regular humans can create a mutant.
Right. Yeah. Or if they do, then that mutant is... Well, no, you're right. Mm-hmm. So that is a reason why, too. The genetic stability of that abhuman is there. Because there are other abhumans that eventually were destroyed by... There's a specific organization within the Adeptus Administratum or the Ministorum, I can't remember. But they're specifically designed to make sure and test all of these different strands of abhumans and see if they're stable enough to be used. There's very few abhumans left. I think there's a total of either 12 or 23. I don't know why those numbers stick in my head, but yeah.
The thing about mutants and abhumans, it's why aren't psychers considered mutants? or astropaths or anything that uses warp powers, because like humanity, I guess they're making it seem that that's humanity's next step of evolution.
Right.
Maybe that's why they're not considered mutants or abhumans. But I'd say that's pretty close.
Yeah. The thing about those like psychic using humans is that they have different tiers. We haven't actually covered this in any of the videos because I think it's new. It's like, yeah, I think it's new lore that came with the Psychic Awakening. But there's different tiers. Starting with Primaris being
not the Space Marine Primaris, the Psyker Primaris.
Yep, so they are the top of the top. They can control their powers very well, and sometimes they're like the head of households, navigator households, astropathic, novice novolite. All of these different psychers are even further divided. So maybe the reason they're not considered like the same as like a Jakiro weaponsmith or like an Ogren is because they truly are the next evolution in humanity. Whereas Ogren, squats, ratlings.
It's almost like a regression of sorts.
Yeah. So maybe in the future, well, we'll see how this whole Psychic Awakening changes the Imperium. Because I do think that every single faction is going to end up like getting something that has to do with psychic for the tabletop. So then it's going to translate over to the lore. But yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the Tau get, seeing as how they're not very psychic. But again, they did go into the Star Type Nexus like warp thingy, so who knows?
And since we're on the topic of the Tau and the topic of Jakiro and the topic of Star Wars, I watched what is it, the Rise of the Skywalker?
The Rise of Skywalker, yeah.
Yeah. So no spoilers, but you will see a Jakiro weaponsmith. You will see I forget what they're called, but the Tau species uses this floating polar bear that's like a psychic thing.
It's not Demiurge, is it?
It's not the Mirug, no. Those guys are made out of stone.
Oh, yeah.
Not nihilism, I don't know. But that's there too.
Floating teddy bears, polar bears.
Basically. And then towards the end of the movie, you start to wonder, like, wait, am I watching Star Wars or 40K? Because there's some things that happen that are just like, whoa, this is pretty badass.
If you've seen it, obviously you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys are going to talk about it in the comment section, just make sure to put spoiler warnings just in case people haven't seen it, because this should be going out Monday, and some people are saving that movie for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day to watch, because it's not that good. It's good, but not like...
For something ending like this whole saga of Star Wars, like it should be like astronomical.
But it's not. I would say that it's more like... So it's better than the ending of Game of Thrones, but still not as good as like...
Endgame, would you say?
Right, it's not as good as Endgame. No. It could have been. It's entertaining. I'll give it that. Like, it is entertaining. It's visually amazing. But yeah. We'll see. Next question.
This one is by Defool06. If you guys ever decided to start a separate Q&A video series about Age of Sigmar only, what would it be called?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Because he plays a whole bunch of Age of Sigmar armies.
I do.
And I can't speak today. Specifically focus on the Night Haunts. We'd have to think about this one.
Yeah, and I also need to learn more about the lore of Age of Sigmar. I still don't really understand. When I first started, or when I picked up all these armies was when it first came out. And back then the lore was like all jumbled up. Like it didn't really make sense. You could tell that they created the game specifically for like the tabletop. They didn't really care about the lore. But then that's completely changed now.
Yeah,
like the lore is pretty rich
different realms, and you have like Sigmar and WAAAGH, and there's a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah. So maybe like down the line, if we start to like do Age of Sigmar lore and learn more about lore, we can do Q&As. Because honestly, if we start doing Q&As for Age of Sigmar now, they better be about the tabletop, because we don't know too much about the lore.
And even then, we've only played like 3-4 games on the tabletop.
And they're not one-on-one games. They're like, we do special scenarios.
Where it's like, it's usually 3 of us now, where it used to be 2v2.
Yeah.
Now it's like a 3 free-for-all, or like two are allies, but then the other person has a boost.
Yep.
So it's a different variation as to what usually people play, which is one-on-ones.
Right. Next question.
This one is by Fraser Steen. If violence feeds Khorne, desire feeds Slaanesh, and change feeds Tzeentch, why did the Emperor desire to change the galaxy through violence and then sit rotting on a chair if he was so anti-chaos?
So I don't think he knew about the Chaos Gods as much as we think he did. We give him a little too much credit. I think that he knew that they were like evil entities.
Well, he knew about him because, like, when he was making the Primarchs, didn't he make like a deal with them or something like that?
Supposedly.
Yeah.
But I don't think he knew them to the extent where like we know them because we've read all the lore. We know what's going on in the warp and all that kind of stuff. I think that's a part of the lore that we forget, that like the Emperor does not have our knowledge of Tzeentch, does not have our knowledge of Nurgle. He does. I mean, he might know now because he's becoming a god, but he didn't. I don't think he did back in the Great Crusade. And it's just really part of the whole great scheme of chaos.
Right.
Like they were always 10 steps ahead of the Emperor.
And when you think about it, how are you going to unify humanity that's being, controlled and dominated by like Xenos and other races and such without violence? Mm-hmm. Might makes right.
Yes, says the orcs. Or what you were saying could be true, that it was just all part of the deal. Mm-hmm. Whatever deal he came up with.
It's like, you're going to take these Primarchs and fling them across the galaxy so I could go save them and bring them back and have half of them hate me and half of them join you. Way of doing things, but I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah.
With chaos, you never really know.
Next question comes from Critchernator. Who would win in a battle royale between the Primarchs? Can you break it up into 30k and 40k? Sure, the 30k people, or the 30k Primarchs, I think it's easy. It's either going to be, I want to say Vulcan or Sanguinius. I think those two would win, the best Primarchs.
I don't know.
I think Sanguinius and Vulcan, just because they're like strong, they can do what Leman Russ did to Magnus, break his back, bounce and break his back. And then at the same time, they are smarter than like the other aggressive Primarchs.
I don't know, because I mean, Gilliman should be tactically smart, but I don't think he's going to win. Vulcan, I agree, because he's like one of the biggest guys, one of the strongest ones. However, Magnus is a master at psychic warfare. And then you have Corvus Corax, who can literally turn invisible. So he can literally just sit out for the whole match until the end and then like knock out whoever he's fighting.
I feel like that would be a good strategy, but based on the lore, I think that he is very like, he's a side piece.
Yeah, definitely.
He's not a main guy, whereas like Sanguinius is.
Right.
Vulcan also, I think, is
being a perpetual. Like, yeah.
I mean, you can't kill a perpetual.
But so. I don't think these Primarchs would fight to the death. It'd just be like a big like brawl.
So it'd be like, what was that in WWE?
Where they're like ring outs.
Yeah. Whatever that's called.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget. Hell in the Cell. No, that's not it.
It's the one where you throw people over the rush or something? No. Our brick? No, I can't remember.
Rikishi?
Is he dead yet?
Bless his soul.
And then, so 40k.
Oh, well, there's only like 3 revealed so far.
Let's say if all of them came back, who do you think would win?
Lorgar.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Lorgar literally had the best glow up in all of 40k. He was the guy who everybody picked on. Even the Emperor pushed him around and like really made an example of him. It's like, you got to stop praising me. I'm going to destroy your most beloved city and like split apart your legion. And then like, look at him now. He's like a demon prince who's been just amassing all this power on his tower. And he even punked Horus like near the end of the heresy. So
yeah,
Lorgar.
Same here. Comment down in the comment section below. Let us know which Primarch you think could win it all in a battle royale. Is that it?
No. Battle royale. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that what he said?
I think so.
Jeez. But yeah. Next question.
This one's by T-Dog T-Dog. What do the citizens of Terra actually do for work? Is there a Terran Militarum Regimentum?
The Terran citizens. So you have to think of Terra as like a huge metropolis. So a big city. There's just a wide variety of things that they do. It's a fortress world, but then at the same time it's like a cardinal world, but then at the same time it's like a hive world. So it's a hive planet, I should say, completely covered. Mm-hmm. So there's an underhive. Every single imperial planet that exists, probably a small portion of it exists on Earth. Even pleasure worlds. I'm pretty sure there are certain areas within Terra that are just like gardens, and they look beautiful, and they were created for the High Lords. So it's all over the place, man. Mm-hmm. I don't think there is an average Imperial citizen. I think there's like pilgrims and hive workers and.
Well, there are pilgrims because there are people who like try to see the Emperor, and they wait on these like literally lifelong long journeys, lines and journeys to meet him.
Yeah, so it's all over the place. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say. There are Sol System Imperial Guard regiments that are raised. I don't know if they come from Terra though. I can't really remember.
Yeah, because I think like there's like Terran-born Space Marines, so I feel like there would be like some type of like regiment on Terra.
But it just might be a planetary defense force for Terra.
But to keep it on the safe side, I guess like the most common job for a Terran-born citizen is probably like a worker at Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks is still around on Terra. Mm-hmm. It survived the dark age of technology, the age of strife, the hot wings of, what is it? The flaming wings of something. What does he call it? The hot ones wings? The hot ones challenge thing?
The last dab.
Yeah.
They survived it all.
And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down in the comment section below. Go out to your local Games Workshop store or your hobby store and buy last-minute presents for your loved ones. If they don't play 40K, let them know that we have a couple giveaways going on right now. So just jump on over to Instagram, Facebook, and all of our videos for this week, and we're doing giveaways, mostly starter sets, because we want you guys to start playing the tabletop. And yeah.
As always, I've been the Sound Alchemist.
Push one.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Oh, if you took my freedom back.